All right, hey, this is Dan from Rambling Ambition. Welcome to another installation video. Today we're going to be putting on Canyon Adventure Van's door struts. I thought I'd show you what it looks like after we're done. The best thing about them is that they're going to hold these doors open with all the weight on them. They're going to hold these doors open while we're on an angle. They're going to hold these doors open when the wind is blowing, and they're going to help us open the doors when we open them. If this is something you're interested in, please stick around for the video. Today we're going to install some Canyon Adventure Van's struts for the back doors. We're going to show you what's in the kit now that you've seen what it looks like installed. And it's got two long struts. It's got a base plate. That side, we have plates that go on the door, and they're going to use the factory mounting locations. And we have those for both doors. Now on this, we're going to have to cut this piece of plastic because we have to drill some holes to mount this bottom bracket. Those will go in with some rib nuts. All the things are supplied. This kit does involve drilling into the base of the van, so you are going to have to need some tools, and you have to have the willingness to cut stuff and drill in. You have to have some specialty tools. A rib nut insertion tool. They make a couple different kinds. They make a manual kind. There are some homemade kind of setups. And then there's a pneumatic kind that is really nice. I have never bought one, but I'm really thinking about it as we go through the van build process. And then you need a drill. They give you a couple drill bits to drill a pilot hole, and then a drill bit to drill the hole for the rib nut itself. You need some spray paint to cover the metal from the holes that you drilled, and some kind of cutting tool to cut that plastic on that bottom lip. All right, so the first step is we got to get these plates marked in the plastic piece right here. Mercedes was nice enough to make this removable, so just take a pick and pop that out, and there's two others on the other side and then one in the center, and then just get up underneath it and just pop it loose. Now what we're going to do is we're going to mark where this bracket needs to go. So these brackets have got little edges, and they're going to fit right on these edges. So what we need to do is make some marks on the plastic to where we need to cut it. And so you can see that on this bracket there's a little bit of an inset, and this is where you want to make your mark on the plastic. And just like here, that way these edges cover your cutout. So easy way to do it is just line them up. Line them up with the factory edges, and then just mark that inner edge and that inner edge. And then we'll take a square and kind of clean the lines up. So we're going to mark that inner piece there. And that inner piece there. So you can see I've got a line here and then a line here. What we're going to do now is take a tape measure and measure from here to here, and then we'll repeat that measurement and put a connector here, and then we'll take a straight edge and draw those lines. All right, now you might be asking yourself, why do I want struts on the doors? Well, the van is kind of leaning to the right, to the passenger side right now, because we're on an angle. So this door, which is really heavy, opens up because of gravity and hits that limited strap. Now this side is not, and as soon as this opens, so I have it like just barely sitting on the factory detent. But if you think about wind or anything else, that could really affect whether those doors stay open or not. And these struts are going to keep the doors open regardless of whether or not we're on a hill, or whether there's wind blowing, or, you know, just simply because they're heavy, they're shock, so they help assist the doors opening. So there's a line here and a line up here. Those are our cut lines. We're going to repeat it on the other side, and then get our oscillating multi-tool out and make those cuts. All right, we're going to take our multi-tool or oscillating tool and make these cuts. Right, that was pretty easy. So we're just going to put the clips back in, and I'll show you kind of the finished side of it. I'm going to take a little file and get all those little plastic pieces off so it looks nice, and then I'll show you where we are. All right, now that we have the cutouts done, we're going to take our bracket and set it so that it sits right where we want it to. Then we're going to take a center punch and punch these holes. And then we're going to use the included drill bit that came with the kit to drill those pilot holes. Now, for now, we're going to get that pilot hole drill bit, and then we're going to drill the holes in the van through this bracket, using this bracket as a guide. And that way we can drill the hole, put a bolt into it, drill the next hole, make sure all the bolts line up the way we want it to. All right, so we got that first hole drilled, so we're going to take the included bolts, drop that into place. Now I'm going to drill the other top one first, and then we'll get the bottom one. Always a good idea to have a vacuum around just to get those pieces of metal up or dirt up as you're doing your projects. All right, and now the last one. Okay, now that we're done with that, we're going to take the bigger drill bit that's the size of the riv nuts, and we're going to drill those 3 holes out. All right, we drilled out those the bigger holes with the bigger drill bit. We made sure that the riv nuts fit in, and we've applied a little bit of spray paint to make sure that there's no rust. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side while the driver's side drives, or while the driver's side dries, and then we'll do the rib nut install. The rib nut goes in the top up front. And you want it all the way down against the base, because the whole idea is that you're going to pull these handles down and compress the rib nut. So you're going to stick it all the way flush. Then you're just going to slowly work this to compress that rib nut. And what it's going to do is it's going to take this section right here and squish it all together. So you're going to bring this interior cup all the way close to the surface, and that's going to pinch this to the body of the van. So we're going to do the other 6, and then we'll start installing the brackets. All right, we got them done. So you can see there and here on the passenger side, same, pretty simple. Just got to take your time, nice and easy. Now we're going to put the brackets on and hand thread these in to make sure we don't cross thread them. Now if we've done our job right, this should all line up. I forgot to mention, because this has got some gap to it, they include some spacers to fill the gaps. And there are 3/8 inch spacers and 1/2 inch spacers. They suggest trying 3/8 inch first on the back and then a 1/2 inch on the front. It looks like a 1/2 inch is going to be too tall on the front of mine. So we'll do 3 3/8. So it kind of looks like that. All right, and they all line up, which means we did our measurements. That's what drilling with the bracket in place kind of helps you make sure that the holes line up and that everything is where it needs to be. So we're going to tighten those down and move over to the right side and get that done, and then we'll talk about our next step. All right, that worked. We got them both. So you can see how nice and this looks just like it's supposed to be there. This one, it really turned out well. I'm super happy. That's where it pays to take your time to line those holes up, make sure that you're drilling where you need to be, and again, make sure you paint where you drilled so that we don't have rust happening in the background. But I'm really happy. A lot of times stuff doesn't line up like it's supposed to, but in this case we did a good job. All right, so the next step is to get this driver's side door bracket. So before I take those bolts loose, what I did was I took a Sharpie, and you may not be able to see it, but I made a mark right here and right here so that we can put that hinge back where it needs to be when we put the bracket back on it. So we'll take those bolts loose, and they are T30s star. So we'll go ahead and take those loose and then get the bracket fit where it needs to go. So you want to take the bracket that has the D for driver side. So you can see that, and it's got the 3 bolts facing. So basically you just want to take the bracket and put it right back in where the factory holes are. So this is where those marks really make a difference, because we're down about 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to push that back up and then tighten everything down so that it lines up. All right, we've got everything tightened down, and we're just going to close it just to make sure that it latches right and it's nice and tight. So we will put that shock on here in just a second, and we're going to do the passenger side. So I've gone ahead and marked the door again to try and get this back about where it's supposed to be. And we'll go ahead and take that off and put the other bracket on. All right, so the bracket has a little dimple on it. So you just want to remember this goes on the outside of that. So it looks like that. Yeah, because you can't see the mark so well, what I'm going to do is just shut the door and let that guide pin kind of center that bracket for me. I put enough torque tension on it so that it'll just kind of move to where it wants to. All right, so we're going to tighten those up. All right, we're going to shut the door just to make sure again. All right, it doesn't feel like it's dragging or anything like that. So we'll shut both of them. They open and close like they're supposed to. So all we have left is the shocks. Last thing to do is to put the shocks in, and they have ball ends, and there is a little keeper that you've got to take out to get these over. So basically you just take your hand and put some pressure on that pin, and it comes right out. That's going to allow you to fit this down on top of the ball, We're going to do the same thing for the front. And just keep them handy because you got to put them back in. So from there, all we're going to do is just set this right on. And we'll do the same for the front. All right, there's no real trick. It's just finding the hole and pushing it in, and then you just clip it back over top. I'll show you the one on the front. So you just find the hole. There you go. And that's it. So we're going to do the other side real fast. All right, and we're done. So this is what it looks like. The nice thing about these things is when you open them, they help. You get a nice, clear, wide opening. I love it. All right, that was the install of our Canyon Adventure Vans rear door strut assemblies. They are everything that they say they are. I saw them at Overland Expo a couple years ago, and I was like, if we get a new van, we're going to put those on it. And sure enough, they are just what I thought they would be. They're great because no more do the doors swing back into you. No more do you have to worry about the doors kind of shutting on their own or the wind doing anything with them, especially if we're going to put like an awning over the back, you know, to do some stuff out of the back or anything like a door shower or something like that behind the van. It's the perfect way to keep the doors open. They assist when you open the doors, and they hold them open, and they don't interfere with anything. So I am super happy. The install was easy. Again, you do have to have some specialty tools. You do have to be willing to drill into the van, but it is a solid install, solid product. Highly recommend it. If you don't have them, you don't know you need them, you need them. This is Dan from Rambling Ambition. If you made it this far, give yourself a big thumbs up. Check us out on our upcoming videos as we continue to outfit this 2024 Sprinter van. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.